everyone, hope you're doing well today. Andrew Nordbye here, and my dog Scout. How you doing, Scout? Sit down for the viewers. Oh, that's a good boy. And we're gonna be teaching you guys a little bit about jerkbaits and jerkbait fishing today. And Scout's excited. Why is he excited? Because we're going to be using a jerkbait called Scout. So this one's named after him. It's actually one the 𝗙cie squad came up with. But that's the one I got tied on. It's black and silver. I'm gonna be telling you guys about it more in depth here in a minute, how to fish it, how to use it. But first we're gonna talk about colors. Sitting out here, it's fall. It's quickly approaching winter time. And as the water cools down, jerkbaits are hard to beat. In the fall and winter and early spring, when the water's cold, fish get lethargic. And you want a bait that causes them to react and to eat it, and a jerkbait is a great bait to do this. So we're going to talk colors real quick. These are all 3 to 5 foot divers. That's typically the depth I use. Unless I'm fishing a little deeper water, I'll go with a mid-range jerkbait, get down to 7 to 9 feet. But on your clear lakes, you want to go with some of these clear colors right here. This one's kind of hollow, and this one right here's got a gold silver belly. That would work really good on sunny days because it would reflect all of that light. I like using bright colors on sunny days. This right here is an X-Wrap. Kind of the same color, it's a little orange on the bottom. Sometimes that little bit of orange triggers a reaction bite. And if your fish are feeding on bluegill, this right here is a really good color. Matches a bluegill. Bluegill tips of their tails are a little chartreuse. Right there's a good color, and that's the junior Scout. It's a little smaller. But Scout and I, we're gonna throw some jerkbaits. One of my favorite colors is just a traditional bone, white sides, black top, maybe a little orange on the belly, or chartreuse on the belly is one of my go-tos in all conditions. But I typically like these solid white ones when the water clarity is less than 3 foot, 1 to 2 feet, and these fish really can see it well, and it doesn't spook them because the brightness, just the water clarity is not too clear to spook them. And then on sunny days, I like using the silver one just because it reflects the sun really well. And if you're in some really muddy water, try putting on a straight chartreuse jerkbait because they work really well in muddy water. And let's talk a little bit about my setup. What we're going to use to catch these fish, I like going with a little bit shorter rod than most styles of fishing. This is a 7-foot rod. You can go with the 6-9. I use both of those, and I use a medium action because you want that tip to flex a lot on you when you're fishing it. You want it to bend a lot, and that's key to getting these fish in the boat. We're going to talk a little bit about the cadence of how to jerk the jerkbait down and fish it here in a second, but that soft action's key to getting the hooks in the fish's mouth and getting them in the boat properly. So you land more fish that way if you got a soft tip rod. Using 12-pound test fluorocarbon. You always want to use fluorocarbon because it sinks and you want your jerkbait to get down there. I would go with 8 or 10-pound test if you're on a really clear lake. But anyways, enough said. Let's see if we can catch a couple fish. We're set up here next to kind of a little rocky wall. We got a bluff up there, but it's kind of a transition spot. Some chunk rock over here. And when the current's going by like it is today, these fish will push bait fish up along the wall, and it's key to try and match what these fish are feeding on. So they're feeding on little shad. That's why I tied on this shad colored Scout. Let's catch this one, boy. You ready? Let's go. So when I'm fishing a jerkbait, I like paralleling the banks. Why? Because the water level drops and it gets deeper and deeper. And this bait, its range is 3 to 5 foot. This one says 4 to 6 foot. But on average, you're getting down around 5 foot. And you want to stay in the fish's strike zone. So I like casting the long ways down the bank. And then I'll reel it down a couple feet. And then I just start jerking. Just like that. And that's what this bait is made for. And then you pause in between each jerk and let some slack in your line, and that allows that bait to dart side to side and pause, and that's when the fish hit it. But if you're casting straight at the bank, perpendicular to the bank, you're only in that strike zone for a couple minutes. or a couple jerks really. You bring it down the bank, and then once you get past 5 feet, you start coming out, and you might be in 20 feet of water and your bait's sitting in 5, and you're probably not going to catch any fish like that most of the time unless you're in a super clear lake with some herring. But yeah, I like parallel on the bank just like this. I'm gonna fling it out there again just like this. I'm gonna try to stay in that 3 to 5 foot range. Reel it down, jerk, jerk, pause, twitch, twitch, pause. I do a few different cadences. You got to kind of figure out what the fish are wanting that day, and how long they want the pause for. But normally with water over 50 degrees, I go pretty quick. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. And it's key to give your bait slack so it sits off to the side and looks really natural, like a dying bait fish. So I'll go pretty quick, but if the water's below 50, even into the 30s, upper 30s, sometimes I let that bait pause 30 seconds. I reel it down, and then I'll let it pause, sit there for 30 seconds when it's really cold. And if I'm in a spot where I think there's some bass, I'll do 1 jerk and I'll let it sit there. And you'd be surprised, 10 or 15 seconds in, your line will start running off. Fish will just come over to it and eat it and swim away. So that's key to getting bites in the cooler water temps, fall, winter, early spring. It's a great way to catch some fish. So right now, the bass have been pushing bait fish up against these rocks. And they do that every so often. They'll come up feeding, and this is a great bait to cast to them. Catch a few when they're doing that. And I caught a tree like a rookie. So we're gonna fish this for a few minutes, try to get you guys to see what a jerkbait bite is like. Hopefully catch us a couple real quick. Oh, one just ticked it. Yep, there he is, guys. You don't have to jerk too hard when you set the hook on these. It feels super small. What is this? Oh my gosh. That is a baby. Wow, I got him hooked with all 3 treble hooks. He can't even move. What a baby. That fish is almost as small as my jerkbait. Look at that. Little spotted bass. That's nuts. They will eat anything their size. It's crazy. It always amazes me the type of bait that fish eat and how small a bass you can catch on the biggest lures. This jerkbait's like 5 inches long. That bass was probably 7 or 8. Ooh, one just picked it up. Yep. There we go. All right, another one. Found a few of them, guys. Fighter. Yeah, that's a lot better than that last one. Yep, way better. Not a giant. Oh, it's a spotted bass. I think that last one was a spotted bass too. Yep. Beautiful. That'll work. Looks like he's been caught before. Look at that big old hole in his mouth. Beautiful spot. Probably 14 inches. The color patterns on these guys are beautiful, guys. Love it. See ya. Another one. They've just been feeding right here. It's a good little spot to catch a couple. See if we can get one more. The key about this spot is there's some big boulders that have fallen off into the river right here, and these bass are set up right behind them, and current's kind of flowing by here, and you just run this jerk bait right around those boulders, right over the top of them. They're sitting down in like 7 or 8 feet, and the bass are hanging right around them. That's a really good spot to catch a few. Another one. Yes, they're loaded right here. They're not big. They're little spotted bass. All right, dude, calm down. They try to eat it head first a lot of times, and a lot of times you reel your bait in and the fish will have it choked like that somehow. It's kind of hard to get the hooks out sometimes. But another spotted bass. This spot is full of spots. Little guy, probably about 12 or 13 inches. Not bad. See ya. There we go. All right, got a few on the jerkbait. This jerkbait right here works well all over the country in mid-clarity water. 1.5 to 4 foot. Especially on sunny days, I like this holographic, but since these fish are feeding on shad all over this wall, threw on a shad color and matched the hatch, crushed them on it. Little Scout. Little Scout jerkbait. Just for Scout. Just for you, buddy. Sit down. Good boy. All right. Got some on the old Scout jerkbait today, guys. And I hope you learned something. Scout said that's one of my favorites. And it'll catch you a bunch of fish year round even. I mean, look at Kevin Van Dam. He fishes a jerkbait year round. And he fishes it so fast when the water's warm. Just because it makes them fish react. And they're moving faster when the water's warmer. But we're gonna get out of here for the day. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Fishing with Nordbye, and try a jerkbait next time you go to the lake. Remember, you can pick up all these jerkbaits I showed you at carlsbaitandtackle.com. Some great baits, and you can get good discounts on there too. So head over there, check them out, try them next time you go to the water. We'll see you guys next time.